Welcome, ye old sons of bitches. So I don't know many things about many things, but I have learned a couple little tricks in terms of coloring to make your footage look a little bit more cinematic. And this is a very basic, very generic kind of grading coloring thing that I have going on. Because I'm using Sony Movie Studio Platinum 12, but you will find these things in every program, any software that you use. No worries. And let's just jump right in. So again, of course, it just depends on the tone of how you color, but I'm sure you know that because you're not a fucking idiot. All right, let's do it. So I got a picture of a tree. This is actually my grandma and grandpa's house back in my home state, and they actually lived here for a long time, but they moved over here a couple doors down. And this tree I used to play in all the time. I used to tack little cartoons from the paper up in here, and I would like eat leaves. I was a weird little fucker. All right, let's do it. Just really quick, I have my ratio set on a wide, so that's all I'm doing here is just changing that. Let's put it down a bit. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. Alright, so first thing I like to do is I sharpen it. About 10-15% depending. Just to add a little bit more detail because I like to know what I'm seeing. Alright, moving on. I do a color curve, which is essentially just adding some contrast, but I like to use color curves because it's a little more, free range of exactly what I'm hiring, what I'm lowering. But yeah, just some contrast because when you shoot within the camera, you shoot contrast very low. It's a very flat image, and this just kind of brings it back to life a little bit. And then I have two saturation adjusts that I like to do. First one is just adding saturation essentially. But my second one is, I'll put that all the way down. I desaturate my lows and some of my mids because I hate when flesh is too oversaturated. It annoys. You guys remember that? What was that? This Means War with Tom Hardy and Chris Pine, Reese Witherspoon. God awful movie. But what I remember watching that movie was the coloring was so awful. It was so oversaturated. Like, the lips were so red, it drove me nuts. Bad coloring makes me physically ill. Like the Catwoman movie with Halle Berry, I can't watch it. The Matrix movies, and not because they're green, but it's just not great. Anyway, that's a tangent. But that's what I do here. And then move on, add some black and white, just so it's not too oversaturated in what I've saturated. One, let's see. Nah, let's stick with one. Okay. And that's basically my grading for this. Again, I have a lot of presets set for all these things, which I would recommend just to make your workflow a little bit faster. And, you know what you like, so just... Actually, I am going to make this 1.5. Alright. And then I have some presets that I made for my coloring. Now, STD, which stands for standard, you'll see it already makes quite a difference when I put it on. I put my gamma down a little bit, put my gain up a little bit, and then I change my offset. You can see if I just keep my offset. And I find lowering gamma and highering gain helps a little bit with the noise within the image. And I'm using a picture, not a video, but it works for the same thing. But not a lot. Again, just for some contrast purposes. There you go. But I also lower my offset just a bit because I like it a little darker. Alright, and I have some presets of coloring, so let's just go through those. Kind of a standard film, a little warm. That's fun. A cold, another warm, another cold but with some green, and then, oh, that's something else. All right. Let's just stick with this one. And one thing that I don't like when usually if I color something, from the start, I start with my highs and then I move backwards. And I don't like a lot of color in my lows. Actually, I think it's a bit much there. Because I like my blacks to be black, The cinematic blue is fine, but don't overdo it, you know what I'm saying? In my high, I don't love it up there. And sometimes I just like to, this is a little trick, if you just kind of shoot out, just so you can see a bit of what you're doing. And let's do some magenta. Maybe a little redder. Yeah, let's do something like 60. Point 0.65. Oh, that's a bit much. Sure. Alright, see? And that's fine. And there's your coloring. And again, it just depends on the tone you're setting and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Alright. And then this is the last thing that I like to do. Kind of optional, I guess, but I think to make a little more cinematic style, if you flatten out the image, bring your highlights way down, but keep your... And I do raise my lows just a tad. Just to, again, even out the image, make it a little bit flatter. You can see the difference that it makes. And I think, again, just a little more cinematic. Yeah. And that's basically it. And you're done. Look at that. So quick. And I have some pictures that I did a little bit earlier. I think the coloring's a little bit different. But whatever. You'll get the gist. Go big boy. Alright, so here's nothing except the ratios changed. And then that's, of course, colored. And graded. And all that stuff. So there you go. Just a few things that I like to do that maybe help you out a little bit. That I think it really changes the image. The main things, I think adding a 10% sharpen really helps. I think the difference is almost critical, especially in like things where you get a lot of detail. And then, just make sure your grading isn't, just don't overdo it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it light, keep it easy. And let a lot of the color speak for itself. Don't try to overdo it. Alright, this is too long of a video. There you go, you get the gist. Hope it helps. If not, it's a free video, so go fuck yourself. Alright, peace.